Hello and welcome. My name is Sativ, and this is Macro Mastery. In each video, we'll be talking about a specific macro and breaking down its functions so that we can understand exactly what each part of the macro does. In this video, we'll be talking about a redirect KidneyShot macro that targets your focus, as well as a Mark for Death Kidney macro, which uses a Castsequence to cast 2 abilities at your target, as well as those same 2 abilities at your focus target if you're holding control. I'll explain how I've set these macros up so that you can do so yourself, and so that you fully understand the functions that are being used. So, let's start by examining the first macro so that we understand all of its functions. /Castsequence at focus reset equals 20 redirect KidneyShot. /Castsequence will allow you to string together spells, while reset equals X forces the sequence to restart from the beginning after X seconds. At focus will allow you to cast at a designated target for your macro. Since you will always be redirecting combo points off your main target onto your focus target, you will only have at focus in this macro. So, taking what we learned about the first 3 parts of this macro, we know that it's a cast sequence for our focus target that resets after 20 seconds. It then casts a sequence of redirect KidneyShot. Let's take a moment to zip on down to the target dummies and see how our new macro works. Keep in mind that a Castsequence macro does not allow you to cast your abilities faster than normal and requires equal number of keystrokes per abilities. Since this macro takes redirect and KidneyShot, which are both on global cooldown, it's going to take 2 keystrokes for this macro to function effectively. So, let's get ourselves some combo points real quick here. Alright, I'm going to focus this target dummy, redirect KidneyShot. There we go. Next, we take what we've learned a step further and explore the no mod and mod X functions. Let's examine our next macro. First thing you'll notice is this macro has 2 lines. Next, you'll see that each line is different inside of its bracket. Inside of our brackets are new functions no mod and mod control. These 2 functions are required to make sure the macro understands what to do when you're not holding down a modifier, and when you are holding down a modifier, like mod, shift, control, or alt. Personally, I use control for all of my focus casting. It helps me keep my abilities organized in my head and on the keyboard. But you should use whatever mod you're comfortable with for this macro. So, taking what we've learned about the first macro and applying it to this macro, we can assume that this is a Castsequence macro that when no mod is held, will cast at our main target. But when mod control is held down, it will cast its sequence at our focus target. Its sequence is Mark for Death KidneyShot. Alright, I figured out an easy way to test out this macro quickly, just so I can show you guys how it's working. So I'm going to go ahead and Mark for Death KidneyShot the square over here. Full kidney on the rabbit. GG. Wait, that's not a rabbit, he's a goddamn squirrel! Taking him out, boys. Boom. Reset the CD on Mark for Death. But we're going to wait a little bit here for KidneyShot, so let's play the waiting game. Alright, it seems to be good. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. A KidneyShot, that is. Awesome. The macro is functioning perfectly. When I was holding down control, it casted at our now deceased little squirrel friend, who was our focus target. And when I was holding no modifier, it casted directly at my target. Alright, there are some things that you should note about these 2 macros. I've mentioned them already. Some of them I haven't. The first thing I'm going to mention is for redirect. Redirect and KidneyShot are both on the global cooldown, so you're going to have to press your macro 2 times. Once for redirect, again for KidneyShot. And the same for Mark for Death. I know Mark for Death isn't on the global cooldown, but I think you have to click it twice anyway. Not sure. I do it just to be safe, because, you know, why waste your time running over there to KidneyShot if you're just going to mess it up. Another thing that you have to keep in mind is when you're using the function mod anything, mod shift, or mod control, you need to make sure that the keybind that you've got that mod macro on doesn't have a keybind overlapping the modifier. For example, if I'm using 1 and shift 1 in a mod, right now I have 1 as gouge and shift 1 is sprint, but I've just keybound something to shift 1. See, my macro isn't working because shift 1 is keybound. But if I go into keybinds and unkeybind Shift 1, your macro functions well again. So if your macro isn't working for the control mark for death KidneyShot, go ahead and take a look at your keybinds and just make sure that you don't have, a keybind that is overlapping that modifier, because that'll kill the functionality of your macro and cause you a lot of problems. Another thing I feel I should mention is the positioning of the semicolon and the commas and stuff like that, because that's rather important. So after you've selected your modifier, or no mod, you have to put a comma and then @focus. Be mindful of the spaces. This is /Castsequence space bracket, the one beside the P on your keyboard, no mod, comma, @target, and then the other bracket, space reset equals 10, space marked for death, the full spell name, then comma, space KidneyShot. That's all it takes. So just be mindful of that a little bit. Well, that's all for this video. In the next video, we're going to be using a lot of the same terms and functions to explain how my Arena 1, 2, 3 macros are set up. But we're going to be introducing the new thing here, stance. And other than that, you guys should be good. But I'll explain that more in depth in the next video. Just try to remember little bits of this video for macro mastery number 2. Alright guys, hope you've enjoyed and learned a little bit. Till next time, I'm Sativ. Stay sneaky, my friends.